The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Boo. I think if you could keep booing, that would be very, very helpful. I'm here for moral support. Boom! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the MONSTERBASS channel. My name is Paul from Burley Fishing, and I'm here today to talk to you about spoons. The fishing kind of spoon. Specifically, what you're going to see in the MONSTERBASS ice box, and then maybe some other spoons that are related and maybe that you might see later on as well. First and foremost, if you're enjoying the content, if you're digging the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can see when we post more content. I want to start off with a pretty cool spoon that was in our first box. This is the Clam Small P. Look at that. This is a slab spoon. So what differentiates this spoon from other spoons is how thick it is and how dense it is relative to its profile. So you can see it's got a pretty small profile. But being as dense it gets down super, super quick. And sometimes that's what you need to draw a strike, right? Spoons in general, what they're really doing is, obviously spoon is concave. When you draw that up the water column, you get this nice wiggling action. Right, so it's moving up like a fish trying to maybe escape a predator, like a wounded bait fish. But then on the way down, because it's concave like a spoon, it's catching that water and it's scissoring down nice and slow. You can rip it up really quickly. You can let it go down slowly. And some spoons, right, the lighter ones, and the more concave they are, they catch more water, they go down more slowly. But the heavier ones with less concavity, like the Small P here, that are really dense, the slab type, they get down real quick. And sometimes that's what it takes to draw them in. And this one happens to be gold. It's got an eye on it that I think is actually hilariously realistic. It's pretty sweet. And then with that red in there, mixing with the gold, it's pretty awesome. It's got a single hook at the bottom. Single hooks I find are really good for hooking up with smaller minnows. They work well for worms, but I think they really shine with minnows. So if you can get a minnow on this one, I really think that that's the way to go. In this month's box, you got the Guppy Flutter Spoon by Clam. Totally the exact opposite spoon. This one is like, obviously it's black, it's got a more matte finish, it's not going to catch as much light, but it's going to make a great profile in darker water. The other thing is it's a lot lighter. It's got the same kind of hook, single hook, which is great. The difference with this one is I run this one with worms, mostly because I want this to catch as much water as possible. I want to take advantage of that scissoring motion. This one scissors like crazy. The other thing this one does, the faster you rip it up, I feel like the harder you jig this one, so really big, long, rip straight up, pretty quick, you get this really clean, tight motion, and then a nice slow scissor down. Totally different, essentially the exact opposite as the Small P, but a really great option, especially for those panfish, bluegill, and perch. Look into, catch a snack. Again, black, does really well in the dark water. And then another spoon that you saw in this month's box is the Lindy Glow Spoon. A lot bigger, right? That's a fatty. This is essentially a giant. Now, the total profile is pretty large, but its actual size is maybe an inch long. Now, what makes this one unique is a lot of times the glow it's not a new thing, but glow is a nice way to get a totally different presentation and draw fish in from either a long ways away, obviously like some type of night fishing and things like that. It's going to differentiate from everything else that's around it. But it does well day, night, middle of the day, does not matter. So you're going to get a pack of these glow sticks. And you're actually going to get a second pack with some of these to make sure that you have enough that are going to fit into your spoon. So what you want to do is you want to break those, like so. Wait till you hear that little crack. Work them a little bit, shake them up, and then you're going to start to see that color come through. Just work them a little bit, just like that. There we go. Just like the ones you give kids on like the 4th of July, right? You see that color start to work through. Then you're going to shove it into this slot at the back of the spoon. This thing's really light. It's plastic, so it does not work the way that it looks. It's really surprising the way that it works. So you're gonna get that light refracting all the way through the spoon, and it's pretty sweet. You've got the red hook imitating the blood at the bottom of it. Treble, which is gonna. This is honestly, I feel like this is a great for walleye. Great for anything, but I think this is gonna do really well for some walleye. again, pretty easy. It takes a couple of seconds. You get a bunch of them in there. There's a pack of 3, and then you get a couple more. But these things can be really deadly. And if you want to show them something different, I mean, that is always the name of the game when you're not on them, when you can see marks and you're marking fish on your Vexilar, your sonar, you're marking fish on, they're just not taking it. This is how you can show them something totally different, both in the shape and way the spoon moves, but also you're adding a significant glow element. You also get this little poker, and if you're wondering what that's for, that's so you can, there's a hole in the front. Check that guy out right there. Take your little punch, pop it right out, just like that. Pretty sweet. Now, again, I mentioned there's gonna be some other spoons that you haven't seen in the box yet that are kind of new. They fit in some of these same categories, but they're a little bit different. One that you saw in the first box, what is that, the December box? You got the Wally Talker. Not necessarily a spoon, but something you're gonna be able to jig like a spoon. It's gonna work like a spoon, but it's totally different. And maybe something different than you've ever seen before. So you can see those brass pieces intermixed with those different color beads. And then when you check the sound on this, ringing sound, just unbelievable and totally different. I mean, there's really nothing that sounds like this, and there's definitely nothing that looks like this. I mean, this thing is going to call them in, hence the name. There's also, which you haven't seen in one of our boxes, but is something that you can look for, the Perch Talker. Smaller version, same kind of hook, same style, but much smaller. Still makes the noise, hard to get on camera, not gonna lie, but still makes that same noise, but in a much smaller profile. Pretty sweet. What I really liked about this one, seeing it work under the water, because of the lower weight and because of the shape, that thing has a nice tight action coming up, and then you let it do the work on the way down. I recommend having a sonar is because when you're jigging that spoon, if you know a fish is coming by, it's probably gonna hit it on the fall. And if you aren't ready for a fish to hit on the fall, you may not even know that you got a bite. And ice fishing, that's the name of the game. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna show you what some of these look like in the tank. The two I wanna show you are the Guppy Flutter Spoon and the Dave Small Piece. So go ahead and roll the tank footage. All right, so this is the Clam Small P in action. As you can see, if you're just holding it there, this is in a tank, so there is like no current whatsoever, nothing's moving. This is literally just my jitters from coffee, and that is creating that action. Now imagine that with a minnow on it. That thing is going to still provide some flash, and when you're ice fishing, you know, sometimes the fish want to see tons of vertical jigging, which this still does a really nice job of. Sometimes they want to see an absolute dead stick like so. And even then, you're still gonna get that really subtle action. But where this thing really shines, you get a wax worm on there, and you just let the sucker flutter down. You bring him up, let it flutter, and you're gonna get that perfect flutter action that you wanna see. All right, this, folks, is the flutter spoon that's gonna come in that you will see in your box for the month of January. Now this, compared to, you can already see it when I'm jigging upwards. I'll try and keep it in the center of the camera for you. When you can see when I'm jigging upwards, this thing has a ton more action than that small P. And that's because of that spoon shape. It's a lot more aggressive. And it's a little bit lighter, so it's impacted by the resistance of the water quite a bit more. Still a single hook, so great for waxworms and minnows. This thing, though, is creating a really erratic action. You're not gonna get, when you hit the bottom, you're not gonna get the same amount of sound, and you're not gonna necessarily displace the same amount of water, but the amount of movement that you're gonna get from this spoon is significant. Love the fact that, like, in dark water, this is gonna create a great silhouette being black. And you're still gonna get some reflection from those two different eyes. There's gonna be a little bit of like flash for you, but that is gonna be a nice aggressive jig up, and then you wanna let that one just sort of settle down closer to the bottom and let that scissor action do all the talking. Man, I could just watch this all day. That's what you've seen in terms of spoons in the last couple months' boxes. That's, I think, what you can expect moving forward. High quality spoons, ones that work, and hopefully you're getting a little bit of things that you haven't seen before, like the Wally Talker. And hopefully you're getting some things that allow you to, again, you're getting the exact opposite, right? The Guppy spoon, quick, light, moves really fast, tight wobble, and then you're getting the Slab spoon, that little itty bitty small P. The exact opposite. That gives you two really great options to say, like, look, I don't know what's gonna work. I don't know what's gonna work today on my water, but I got things in the box that are gonna rock it no matter what. Thanks for stopping by and watching the video. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and ask Jeff what he's gonna do next.
Oh, you doing a video?
Yeah, I was doing a video.
Sorry, man. Go ahead. You just, wrap it up.
Ring the notification bell. Go ahead and subscribe. That way you can see when we post more content. Again, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a good one. And we'll catch you out on the water.